What's going on with the goings on, y'all? You understand me? We ain't gonna waste no time. Let's get into it. Here's my shake. So, yeah, it's kind of thick today. So let's shake, rattle, and roll, you guys. Um, I'm coming here right now. Told you I don't mind saying when I'm right and when I'm wrong. So I'd like to apologize for my earlier statements. I said the New York Knicks and the Philly game would have been tight. It was a blowout. I said that the Minnesota Timberwolves, let me apologize. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the San Antonio Spurs, that would be the blowout, but it was the whole total opposite. Both games were good, but my oh my, the Knicks came to play like they came like this was the game six against the last team they just faced. You know what I'm talking about? I think they've been balling like this since game five. You know what I mean? And it was to no avail. They was clicking on all cylinders. Everybody was hooping. Josh Hart was hooping. McBride was hooping off the bench. Uh, we had a Adam Nobley sighting. It was. I mean, listen, the New York Knicks was like, look, we ain't holding no prisoners. We about to get straight to it, and this is how we do it. You understand me? Um, I don't know. I have no gripes, no worries. I don't know Philly, but Philly just they only had one day off, and then they went right into game one. So maybe it was a little rust from the other game, but y'all need to play y'all game. You know what I'm saying? Quit letting the be do his thing, and then y'all just standing around and watching. Do what y'all was doing before he even got back in there. You feel me? Y'all made it all the way to game six before he came back. Doing what? You need to continue to do that and let the game come to him. You feel me? Because the only one that was really trying hard was Maxi. You know what I'm saying? He had his foot on the meadow, on the meadow, and he was going full first. VJ Edgecombe, he tried. You know what I'm saying? You know how rookies do. They were just trying to get their shots up and make it happen no matter what. And they just wasn't falling. You know what I mean? Um, on the Paul George, he made a couple mid ranges, but other than that, he was a no show for me. Him and Embiid, they didn't step up properly. You know, Embiid had 14 points, but he was like 3 of 11 from the field. He made most of his points off the free throw line. You know what I'm saying? Pumping and faking. You know, faking and pumping. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Doing step throughs that weren't really step throughs. They was really troubles. Shit like that. You know? But the New York Knicks was going so hard. You know how I say, did they lose a game or win a game? They won this game. They went to work and they went to work often. You know, shout out to the New York Knicks. Man, what that was a good ass game, right? So I'm like, okay, they blowing these niggas out. I already predicted that the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Spurs game was gonna be another blowout. I'm figuring it's going to work. And you know, the first half, it was like Wimbenyama was blocking everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? He ended up leaving the game with 11 points, uh 15 rebounds and 12 blocks. So it was definitely a Wimbenyama block party. You know, Victor went to work. He was blocking everywhere. I knew that though. Feel me? Told you I knew that. But I didn't know that Randall was gonna step it up. This was mainly in the fourth quarter where Randall got the mismatches and he took advantage of them. You feel what I'm saying? And that might be throughout the whole series because you really, other than Wembenyama, you really ain't got nobody that can check Randall. So Randall should put up 30. You feel me? Ain't got nobody there that can take him there. So you know what I'm talking about? He might go to work. And I'm hoping that's what happened in this Thunder game. But you know, that's no here nor there. We're going to continue to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. I keep saying the Minnesota Vikings. Why are they on my mind? The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Spurs. So, uh, Darren Fox showed up too. Only thing about it, Darren, in the fourth quarter, you couldn't hit a bucket. We needed you to hit a bucket or two. You feel me? You made a layup and one. That's all fine and dandy, but you was 0-4 for 3. You feel me? You was Mr. Clutch 2 years ago. That was 3 years ago, matter of fact. My bad. We in the playoffs, so I gotta count it. 3 years ago. You the reason why we made the award. Good brother. So I need you to step it up. You only had 10 points. You tried though. I mean, the first half was what it was. You know, it was tight knit, but you know, bucket for bucket, this and that. I just missed like the last 2-3 minutes. I fell asleep. I looked up, y'all had lost. So you know, I definitely wouldn't rewatched it, but it still was the same result. They ain't had no answer for Randall. Randall might take it upon himself in the next game. They already up one. Let's just go to work. We ain't even need Ant-Man. You did your thing, sir, but we ain't even really, you know what I'm talking about? He make a big bucket or two, and we let Randall get the mismatch. It might be a tight fight because shit, Victor Wembanyama don't know if he should go help, or because Ruley. The only thing I ain't really like, and this probably what's gonna happen, they gonna have that pick and roll going. Gobert, you gonna have to hit a shot. Cause they definitely gonna do the same thing they did last game. They gotta sag off you. You can't do nothing for real, for real. So Wembanyama go average about 10 blocks a game. Cause it ain't really nobody that can do nothing with him. And if Castle, like I said, I've still got the same prediction. If Castle can make big buckets and big time games, that's what really happened. Cause the rookie, Mr. Harper, I ain't even calling you your daddy's name no more. You ain't a junior, you a Mister. Mr. Harper coming off the bench, he doing his job. You did your due diligence, good brother. I'm telling you, these 2 games was exciting to me. You know what I'm talking about? For real. I appreciate y'all kindly. I hope next game be the next 2 games be the same way, and that's the Detroit Pistons versus the Cleveland Cavaliers and the LA Lakers versus the Thunder. You feel me? I hope y'all go to work, sir. Now let's get into some of this rhetoric, and then we gonna get on about it here, y'all. Shout out to Kathleen Jackson. I heard it was your birthday. I think your birthday the same birthday as my son's, which is next week. Y'all gotta be a little more accurate with these birthdays, man, because I be knowing, and I be like, damn, why y'all a week ahead looking at it? I know y'all got it's a lot of Tauruses. It's a lot of Tauruses this year. And then I heard, shout out to Jackie Jackson too. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to you, good brother. You 60, right? Or no? Oh yeah, I think you 60. Shout out to you though. We about to get into some of this mayhem. Shout out to Paris, man. I hate you had to go through that, young lady. So I guess Paris Jackson was probably going to see. I couldn't really tell whether you was at the mall, you was getting a bite to eat, you was going to see a movie. Couldn't really make out the layout, but paparazzi was everywhere, and you had an anxiety attack. You feel me? Which is all fine and dandy. Shit, you know what I mean? It get a little worse when you get older. When you get in your 40s, it feel a little different. You know what I'm talking about? And you probably ain't had that real experience in a long time. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know how far the Jackson movie was really gonna take the situation, but it took it into a nice situation. And you know what I mean? By you coming of age, you ain't feel like dealing with it. You know what I'm talking about? Then you ask them to stop. And just like normal paparazzi, they just kept going. That shit is sickening. You know what I'm saying? But you can't get a license for free speech. You know what I'm talking about? Or you can't get get them to stop. It's just not gonna happen. You know what I'm talking about? They gotta make their money and feed their families as well. You know what I mean? You probably take a pill or two for it. You know what I mean? But as long as they ain't meaning you no harm or ill intent, hey, that's what come with the rodeo. You feel me? You making money for the show, regardless to the fact. You know what I'm saying? You know. But you know how stories go after about, I don't know, that's Mike Jackson though. It might take longer than the regular 6 months. You might do a year or two. You feel me? Regardless, that's Mike Jack, baby. He made some iconic music that people still use today. Not including what he bought. But shout out to you though, Paris. Um, Shout out to the young man who was riding along the interstate in a semi truck and got hit by a plane. I was watching it. I was watching this. This was coming down my timeline. I'm looking. I'm like, why they got the semi him? I'm thinking he gonna do some, some type of antic. You know what I'm saying? He didn't went viral. A plane hit his ass. I said, what the hell? This is astronomical. But I hope he's all right. Many blessings, good brother. But it's y'all know you about to super sue. If you ain't suing, the company suing, somebody suing. You finna get some pain and suffering. You finna get you a big old check. No, that's federal. Federal. Get that money, young man. Get that money, young man. Shout out to another Kim Wayans signing. I guess you say Skims ain't making no money. You gonna make them some money, huh? Say Miss Kardashian acting funny. I'll show you the difference. You feel me? Shout out to you though, Kim. I hope they do that dang on thing. Shout out to Diamond Brown. I guess you taking Chris Brown to court for paternity so you can get you a few of them dollars. You say, oh, you going on tour with Usher, huh? You finna make you $1, huh? Well, let me get a few of these dollars for this baby you ain't been taking care of. You know what I'm talking about? Chris like, hold up. I've been taking care of this child. You know what I'm saying? The girl, oh my God, the girl is mine. Look at that. You know what I'm talking about? He was reaching out across the window. You know what I mean? But I guess Chris Brown did his paternity thing. You know what I'm saying? She don't want nothing but an extra dollar. She ain't really tripping on none of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know how friend at the court go. You know what I mean? Yeah. I hope everything become everything. You feel me? Because you finna pay that little couple dollars, whatever it is in that state. Back Back when I was doing the little paternity situations, it was 500. So ain't no telling what it is in that state. But kudos to you and Diamond Brown. I hope y'all get these things together, cause going back and forth to court just ain't it, man. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. I guess you was on Cam Newton's podcast, and you uttered a statement that makes perfectly sense, sir. Will the black people do it? I have no idea, man. That's something I've been preaching for years. You might be able to get it off because it's coming from you, but if black folks took they percentage, because that's how they keep up with us, with the voting and the census and whatnot. It ain't never been meant to see what the white people doing. It was always meant to see what we doing. If don't nobody vote, they don't know what we doing. They gonna have a worldwide panic. You feel me? The government will never issue to pay attention to what everybody got going on. It was to make sure that the small people stay small. And the small people need governing. You know what I'm talking about? And as long as they trick, they slave. But that's no here nor there. You stated that if all black people was to vote Republican, I mean, what is gonna change? Ain't nobody in no suit and tie gonna come and save our lives. We gotta save our lives. If we don't decide to do it, won't nobody do it. So it don't matter who we vote for. They ain't gonna have our best interests. I'm just saying. It's definitely a bright idea though, sir. And I'm all for it. If they can keep it going. Um, I think we got one more and then we're gonna get into this beautiful Met Gala. Let me see. Oh, shout out to Chris Bouchard. Chris Bouchard said that Cade Cunningham is the best American hooper. And I don't know what show he was on, but he stated it to a Caucasian gentleman. The Caucasian gentleman said Ant-Man, and I think he might have said somebody else, that he wasn't better than them. And to you, I say this. He was on a team that made 60 wins. I say 48 of them wins was because of Cade Cunningham and the onslaught he put on for the Detroit Pistons. They became number one. They ain't been number one in over 20 years. Yeah, it was a tight fight against the Magic Stick, but they beat them. And they on to the second round. I don't see why they wasn't so long for the MVP. You feel me? Do you understand me? It's always to the best player, right? Only other player. I told you this be at the beginning of, the first 10, 12, 20 games maybe. I'm like, shit, it's either going to be LeBron or it's going to be him. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm wrong, I don't mind coming on and talking about it. So at the end of the day, shout out to you, Chris Bouchard. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go ahead. Detroit basketball looking at. You know what I'm talking about? Now, let's get into the beautiful Met Gala. When it comes to the overall event, it was okay. I seen some nice gowns though, and we're gonna get into a few of them. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to now I'm gonna get into the ones I really like the best first. Shout out to, I can't even pronounce her name correctly, bro. She's a tennis player, Naomi Asuki. I don't know if I'm saying your last name correctly. I am not gonna lie to you, but man, that white and red dress, yeah, I liked it. That I think that might have been the best outfit of the whole gala. That's just my personal opinion, though. And I'm a stickler for white, yellow, and red. You had that white and red going. It was a red dress too that I but I can't think of her name. Here they go. They're finna start calling me for no reason. I don't really care. You know what I'm talking about? Should have called me earlier. Anyway, well, whoever had that red dress on, you'll come back. But Naomi Asuki, she's a tennis player. I think that might have been the best dress of the gala. But it was a few other ones. Tiana Taylor, definitely seen your outfit. You had your Silver Surfer going. You know what I'm talking about? Already. Shout out to Beyonce and Young Blue. You know what I'm saying? And JC. Y'all came formal. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to Doja Cat. I don't know what you ain't even had no clothes on. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to SZA. You had your real flowers. You know what I'm saying? You was really blooming, huh? And I like yellow. Yellow is one of my favorite colors, so I had to make sure I remember that. Shout out to you. Shout out to Solange. I'm not a black man. You know what I'm saying? I like vibrant colors. You know what I'm saying? The brighter the better. The sweeter the juice. You know what I'm talking about? The brighter the better though. I like bright things. You know what I'm saying? I've always been a man of the chakra energy anyway, so I'll be all over the place when it comes to you know what I'm saying, formalities. So you gotta forgive me. Let's see who else was exciting at the Met Gala. Shout out to Snoop Dogg. I seen you representing. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, and you had I liked the jacket. I liked the Steph Curry and his wife. I liked his jacket. I mean, I guess I just like hoodies, so I liked his jacket. Um, let's see, is somebody else on here? Oh, shout out Cardi B. I'm glad you made you know, you my friend, so I'm glad you made a wardrobe change because that first little outfit, boy, I was gonna say you had the worst outfit of the whole gala. You was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the car and we gonna change this. And you went into some pink ensemble. Yeah, you could barely walk, but hey, look, you could barely walk in that one little joint. It looked like you had a whole I don't even know what to call it. You know about you had look like you had the mumps and the bumps. You feel me? I'm like, man, did she throw up on that joint? Oh no, that's her outfit. What's up with all them outbreaks? I'm like, she doing too much. I know she want to win, but good G Willikers Batman. That's a holy strawberry for real. Shit. Excuse my language. I don't mean to harm anyone. This is my disclaimer. You understand me? But ooh wee. Shout out to ASAP Rocky and Riri. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what kind of silver. That wasn't silver. That was like platinum, maybe. You know what I'm saying? He was a platinum blossom. You know what I'm saying? And you had your Topanga on the side. Look at that. You know what I'm talking about? For real. Shout out to you, ASAP. Say she was shining like a diamond, huh? That's what you tell your wife. You know what I'm talking about? She was looking regular, but you tell her she's shining like a diamond. That's what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to y'all, though. I'm glad y'all pulled up and said y'all going to the after party. Look at that. Listen, I think might have one more shout out, and we're gonna get on the ball for this thing. Um, no, that might be it on the shout outs, you guys. And this was relatively short. Usually my little feeds be a little longer than that. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to everybody that pulled up to the Met Gala. I know it probably wasn't as promising as it normally is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe because the rich man was the primary holder in the situation. You know what I'm saying? And now all the rich people getting backlash these days for having a couple dollars. You should have been thinking about a couple dollars instead of talking about a couple dollars. That's why you ain't got no dollar. But you know what I'm saying? That's no here nor there. We still got the rest of the week. We'll talk about it. So, you know what I'm talking about? If you see the ceiling fan, you know it's real. And with all that being said, as the old saying goes, the smoke's gone, I'm gone.